Welcome back, everyone. This is a time to start a new year, a new semester, and a new course for most of you at least. There may be a few of you coming back to visit again because you had so much fun last time. I want to introduce you with some of the logistics here. We'll also have an opening lecture that you'll maybe have seen even before this. But here are just the logistics if you ever need to look them up again and figure out what it is we're doing and how we're supposed to go about succeeding in this class. So first hope is that you're all healthy, you've got some rest, got some exercise, you're in good shape after the summer and ready to dig into what we hope will be a really fun and really productive learning experience. We, the team, are busy preparing things. There's a few things that, will fall into place in the first week, but hopefully this video will give you at least enough guidance to figure out what it is to do next and what we're expecting of you. Because the course has a lot of different pieces in it. And in order to learn all those, we have this thing called week 0. So week 0 is this week, when nothing will count towards your grade. But you will learn all the various elements of the class. You'll watch videos, you'll upload homeworks, you'll do a reading quiz, you'll do a discussion group, all those things that make up the pieces of this class so that we can get them all under control. So that by the end of this week 0, you're really ready to jump into the serious material and have a good handle on things. We don't want to waste time on these logistical things once we get into the course. So what is the purpose of this class? It fits pretty neatly into a sequence. It started with careers, then went into fundamentals 1, and now we're fundamentals 2. For those of you who are transferring in or doing things in a different order, don't worry, this course is still very separate from the others, doesn't explicitly depend on them. What it does do is set the stage for more advanced classes once you're into what we're not allowed to call for major status, but once you're into the elevated status that allows you to take the upper division courses. So hopefully that will be next spring. So from next spring on, you'll be taking courses specifically in biomedical engineering as well as some electives. And the prerequisite for all those classes is this class. And so every single thing we do in this class will have some utility or bearing on courses that follow. And if you're ever in doubt, if you ever wonder why we're spending time thinking about this type of circuit or that type of mechanical system, just please ask, because I can happily fill you in on where this material will come back later to give you the introductory level access that you'll need for the subsequent classes. Now, more generally, this class is here to help you build your learning methodologies, your learning approaches, help you get comfortable with the idea that you're going to make mistakes and that that's going to be okay, and that we don't expect perfection. We'd much rather see you working through targets, working through complex problems, and learning that process of coming to solutions. And the path to a final solution, to a beautiful device or wonderful insight in science, has many, many mistakes along the way. That is just simply the way engineering, science, and in some ways life works. So mistakes are welcome here. There's really, again, you hear this a lot, no such thing as a dumb question. There's no such thing really as a serious mistake here. Every error we make, every attempt we make just builds our learning, gives us the opportunity to work through things, and that's the craft we're really trying to create. So there's some pieces to that process that are kind of even described in literature. We're trying to build a thing called grit, which is an ability to maintain a long-term focus on a positive attitude, on a growth mentality, so that we have the ability to move ahead and take on larger and larger, longer and longer term projects. And that's really what a career is, ultimately. It's a long-term project, and perseverance is incredibly important. And this is a very learnable skill, and it's an incredibly important skill, more important than any intelligence quotient or any other metric you might think of that comes from genetics or your previous education. Grit and perseverance are what we're going to try and help you develop, and that's a key skill to future success. And the key element of that is this idea of a growth mentality. And that says that you may not know something today, but we can help you learn it tomorrow. And so there's never a limit to what we can learn as long as we develop the process and put in the time and the work and the energy needed to make that happen. So how is the class organized? It's in what's called a flipped format. So you may have seen some of these kind of classes before. You may have even taken one in physics, let's say. The idea here is that you're going to be watching videos like this to get what would be traditionally lecture content, and you'll be able to watch those whenever you want. You'll have them available well ahead of the week in which we actually use that material to solve problems. So when we come together, we're going to be in a discussion setting, in a room, in a small group, where we're going to work through problems, questions, challenges together and develop that skill of solving problems. And that's the key here. We're going to learn how to solve problems. So it's an active learning approach. Now, active learning means active. It means some work on your part. It's not going to be as easy or feel as easy when you come to class compared to a lecture where you can zone in and out as needed, you can take notes or not, you can order your dinner. You know, this is not the way these discussion sessions will work. You'll be very actively engaged and we'll expect you to participate. And that usually works out fine. So give me a little time and a little confidence here, a little space to work with here, and I bet we'll get you all engaged and having fun. So flipped learning is not new. I didn't invent it. You can see here there's a book about it that I use quite a bit by an author named Robert Talbert, who's an educator. And you know, one of the quotes that I like that summarizes it is that you can't say that you were interested in teaching students how to learn and then spoon feed them everything. So I'm very interested in having you learn, but I'm not going to spoon feed you. Instead, I'm going to set you up, I'm going to guide you, I'm going to help you learn the concepts, the principles, the practices so that you can learn. And these are principles you can use much after this course is finished. They arguably will take you through your entire career and many aspects of life, because life really is about learning new things all the time. So that's what we're going to do, flipped format. You'll hear it again and again. As with all courses in this university, we have a Canvas page, and you can see it here. This is the current Canvas page for this year's edition of the class. This is mission control. Whenever you have a question, whenever you want to know how to find something, go back to the Canvas page and look through the modules. The course is structured around modules. And every module, here's an example of one, will include a number of elements. They'll vary from week to week, but one module maps to 1 week's activities. And if you follow that guidelines in there, you'll find all the materials you need. There's always a start here, which is a page in Canvas, which will describe what the key steps are. And then most of the other modular elements are things like the homework you can download, the chapter in the textbook you can read, you know, other things like that. So Canvas, modules, that's the way we're going to organize the class. Now, as I said, we're going to get together in discussion sessions, and that's going to be in a different room that you probably haven't seen before. It's MEB 2440, so it's very close to the labs where you'll be every week as well. So hopefully, you know, won't be hard to find. But again, we're going to do that on week 0. We're going to have you all go to that room for the B, what we're going to call the B discussion groups or sessions for that week, so that you can find the room and you can get comfortable there and you can see what's going on and get a sense of how this whole discussion thing works. It won't be that hard, it's just we have to learn it. Now, a key, necessary, essential first step is for you to sign up for the discussion sections. So our class has sections, but they're related to the lab. These are different sections. These are the discussion sections. And the schedule system would handle us having 2 different types of sections, so we have to do that manually. So there's a link on the Canvas page to a form. You go to that form, obviously fill out your name and your university ID number, and then you pick your choices for session A and session B, and we will do our very best to accommodate those choices. It's never perfect. Some people don't end up with their first choice, but we'll work with you as best we can to find times that we can all come together for these discussion sections or sessions every week. And once you're in a particular A and B session, then that's where you'll come back every week. So it should fit in your schedule, not just this week or next week, but on a regular basis throughout the semester. If for some reason a particular session doesn't work for you in a particular week, that's okay too. You can attend a different session that week. Just let the TA know or let me know if I'm there, and sign in on the sign-in sheet, you know, with your name. We have sign-in sheets you have to check those if you're in the right session. If you're in a different session, you have to add your name to the bottom. And this is how we track your attendance, which will feed into your grade. Attendance in these discussion sessions really is essential to success in this class. We rarely find students who do well if they don't attend these discussion sessions. So the first steps again, go to the Canvas page, fill out the form, and we'll work with you during the week to get you into the first discussion session, which is this week already. So this will be Thursday and Friday, or Thursday or Friday, depending on which session you're in. Now we'll have these discussion sections, which are my main concern, but Dr. Christensen will be guiding the labs, and he will also have you already signed up to lab sections. The lab sections look very balanced at the moment. Here's sort of a quick profile of what I found yesterday that will show that we're pretty even in the lab numbers, and that's perfect. So everything looks fine there. Same rules apply. If in a given week that particular lab session doesn't work for you, you can attend a different session. Now, because you're working in groups of 2, this can be a little inconvenient. So don't do it lightly, don't do it casually, and maybe even talk to your lab partner and see if you could both switch into a different session if one or the other of you can't make the particular session for that particular week. So we try and be flexible, but there are just limits to how this can all work. Now, there's a bunch of materials that you will receive, and not much that you actually have to bring with you when you come, let's say, to the lab. The lab is casual. Obviously, wear relaxed clothes. You're going to be moving around. You might get a little wet. There's some water involved. There's nothing dangerous involved in these labs. But you know, come casually dressed and ready to do things. The lab is about doing things and making measurements and learning techniques. So come casually. Usually good to bring along a memory stick of some sort. You will have computers in the lab that are connected to the network and can upload your data that you collect that way, but it's always good to have a backup. Backups, as you know, are really important in this computer world. There'll also be a lab notebook that you'll receive on the first lab day, and there are also a bunch of electronic components and other doodads that you'll need throughout the semester, and you'll get those as you go along. You paid a lab fee. This is what that lab fee covers. That and the textbook, which you hopefully will also either have received already, or if you haven't, then just let us know. We give those out in the first day of class. The lab notebook is something that you keep in the lab, so you don't actually take it home. And the good news is that when you enter the lab and perform the lab, you'll finish the lab when you leave. There'll be no home work or lab reports to write that you have to do outside of the lab. So in every lab session, you'll be done when you walk out of that lab. So, and then the lab book just stays in the lab, so you don't have to worry about forgetting it and leaving it out, because it's an important document. It will be a key and part of the learning process, because in the real world, especially in the industry, we have to keep careful notes of what we do in the lab. When we're testing devices, getting data prepared for an FDA application, this all has to be documented very carefully. And so it's essential that you learn the strategies and the approaches, the professional way to keep notes, sign off on things you do in the lab, this sort of thing. And you'll learn all the details of this in the lab. Don't have to worry about it now. As I mentioned, the textbook is also free to use. It's written by Dr. Christensen. I have a few changes I've made to it. It's available in paper, as I've said. It's also available online as a whole PDF document, and then every week's module will contain the chapter in the textbook for that week's module. So if you like reading electronically, all you need to do is download the PDF for that week and focus on that and mark it up. It's yours, right? This is truly freely available to you to use, and it is essential. The material in the textbook is what we will use as the basis for lots of things, and certainly the exams and homeworks and all that sort of stuff. And we change it every year. I rewrote one of the chapters this year. It happens on a routine basis. There are probably some typos still there, but if you find any, let us know, because we can actually fix them, which we like to do. The syllabus, as with all courses, we have to have a syllabus. The syllabus is meant to be helpful. I wouldn't read the whole thing from cover to cover. I don't know if you've ever done that before, but just have a look at the front page at least, and the table of contents, and it's there as a reference. So when you have a question, when you have a need, check in the syllabus. Chances are pretty high that you may find a useful answer, or at least a starting point to an answer there. So use the syllabus as our guide. I will do my level best never to change the syllabus once it's on Canvas. And I think all the right measures are there. Maybe the part you're sort of interested in is how the grading process works. That's also in the syllabus. You can see the details there. And what you will see is that there are lots of different elements. And because some of them may be new and you'll wonder, well, how do I do well in this class? What should my strategy be? What are my tactics that I will use here? There'll be a separate video that will describe what at least I think are some useful ideas to help you succeed in this class. So again, separate thing to watch. We are very much looking forward to getting to know all of you and also to have you get to know each other. So communication is really key. And the discussion sessions are where we do that, where you talk to each other, where we talk to you. There's a real active conversation that's going to go on in those rooms. And so communication is going to be really, really key. We can get into this more deeply, but the point is that success really is tied to our ability to communicate with each other effectively and be comfortable doing that. Some of us are more introverted than others. Some of us can't shut up. We're all on that kind of range of behaviors, but there's lots of compelling evidence that a little bit of extroversion and a little bit of that skill to communicate is just incredibly predictive of long-term success, even long-term happiness. So we're going to try and build those skills, and we'll do our best to build those through the discussion sessions. And again, the idea of these sessions is not just to sit there, study something and regurgitate it, but to work as a group, talk to each other, get to know each other, form the network. From now on, most of you will end up together in the biomedical engineering undergraduate program. You'll be together for a number of years, and it's really helpful to have friends and study partners and somebody you can ask for some help or to take some notes for you when you can't go to a particular class. So build that network and get to know each other as best you can. That really is an important step in this process, and I think will really help your long-term success. We also have student hours. We don't call them office hours, we call them student hours. So that's times when you can reach out to one of us and talk to us about anything that comes up. All the information for that is on the website. And mine look a little limited. That's because most of the time students make appointments with me. And I have a very simple system to book a time with me. And then you can come see me in my office. We can do it via Zoom. I'm very flexible and very keen to help you as best I can. Within the limitations of a crazy life. So we also have tutors, dedicated tutors. There are two of them who've taken the class before. They're actually experienced already in being tutors and TAs. So they're going to be a really good resource for you. They're Landon DeRoche and James Kwan. You can link to them on the Canvas page. Set up appointments with them. They will announce when they'll do some group tutoring sessions, which will also be in the discussion room in general. But you, again, can meet with them one-on-one in whatever setting you're comfortable with. Something brand new, or I think brand new for most of you, certainly brand new for me, is we're going to have an AI-driven bot, right? And we'll talk a lot about AI. Let's just not get too distracted on that now. The point is that there is a really useful feature the university has added to their support for teaching. It's called UBot, and that UBot is linked to our Canvas page. So if you look here on this screenshot again of the Canvas page, and you look through the navigation bar, down somewhere in the middle is this thing called UBot Tutor. That is meant for you to interact and ask questions of it will be a machine. This is not a person, right? But ask questions of a resource that can help walk you through some of the questions you have, the problems you're trying to solve, the homeworks you're trying to do, all that kind of thing. So this is an experiment. I'm really going to hope that you'll tell me candidly whether it works or not works. I'll include some survey questions at some point to see how you're using it. This is the brave new world of an AI enlightened, at least in this case, by a large language model to help us with certain tasks. And the UBot is there truly to help you and be your tutor, your guide. And you've all had hopefully enough exposure to know that sometimes large language models make mistakes that are commonly known as hallucinations. So don't 100% trust everything that's there, but if you find contradictory or confusing content to that conversation, just let us know, because we're trying to track this down. I'm literally working directly with the person on campus who develops these. So we have a really nice link to improve these and really benefit from them, I hope. So give it a try and see what you think. So those are all the main logistical things. I'm really looking forward to having a great semester with you all, getting to know you all. I am the director of the undergrad program, so this is my investment in the fantastic program we have, and I really hope you all get motivated to participate both in the class and then in the program. So feel free to ask me questions about any of these things. I've been here for a long time, been doing this job for a long time, so if I don't know answers, I know people who know answers, which is sometimes just as important. So thanks again. Look forward to seeing you soon.